This is KGW News at noon.
Now at noon, holiday shopping is going online, and Porch pirates know it. How to protect your holiday deliveries from thieves. Plus, Omicron cases are surging in Washington. More than 50 cases in just 2 weeks. Now, the White House is urging you to take an at-home COVID test before any Christmas get-togethers. And happening right now, the parade of toys. Look at all those happy folks. All your donations to our KGW Great Toy Drive are heading out to hundreds of local nonprofits. We're going to have a live check-in for you coming up. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm Brenda Braxton. Before we get to all that, we want to head back to the Weather Center. And Rod, it is chilly outside.
It is. I'm not as much fun as the toy drive, folks, but I do have some good information to pass along. Cloudy skies. Brenda mentioned it's chilly. We've been sitting in the upper 30s for the last couple of hours out at the airport. The temperature, if anything, though, will hold steady and actually go up a few more degrees this afternoon. So here's the radar, and quite frankly, everything's been holding right where it was earlier this morning. So the green is rain up and down the heart of the I-5 corridor, and the blue is snow. We've had reports of snow up in the West Hills, but nothing really sticking, even up in elevation. It tends to be 35, 36 degrees. And the radar was showing more snow in the air along the West Hills. Now that's about gone. So you would think that is starting to show some warming. Snow over the Coast Range, again, their temperatures are mainly above freezing. And even Sandy at 1,000 feet, the radar is showing it's rain. Temps are in the mid-30s. So the forecast projection for today, you may remember, was that the snow level would be at 1,000 feet for sticking snow. And if anything, that's starting to actually rise as I speak. Here are the afternoon numbers. 40 in Kaiser, 40 in Dallas. No issues there. We'll be about 40 this afternoon at 4 o'clock with the wet weather continuing. The Gorge is seeing sticking snow in Hood River. Brenda, we'll talk about that coming up shortly.
Okay, we'll see you then. Thanks, Rod. Now let's take you back out live to Northeast Portland for a very big update on our KGW Great Toy Drive. Drew Carney is at Lloyd Center this noon for the Parade of Toys. Always a favorite. How are things going?
I'm smiling, Brenda. I'm also joined by a lot of good people out here. And I had to quiet the crowd for a moment just so I could hear you, but I'll ask them again. Now that we're here together, are you guys excited about the toy drive and what we did this year? A very good crowd that listens well. Real quickly, I just want to shout out who these people are exactly. We have our sponsors. We have our partners in the toy drive out here, starting with Toyota, local Toyota dealership. How about it for Regions back on board again this year? Our friends with IQ Credit Union. I can show you right here. Fred Meyer, a big supporter this year of the toy drive. You can cheer for Fred Meyer, for goodness sakes. With all due respect, though, to our sponsors and partners, the big stars of this year's toy drive, our viewers, we asked them to give this year. Once again, they stepped up this year. We're talking tens of thousands of toys, Brenda. We'll have more on this year's Parade of Toys as we wrap up this year's toy drive right here on the News at Noon.
My friend, you are a brilliant conductor with the crowd. We'll be checking back. Thank you so much, Drew. Okay, as we get closer to Christmas and those last-minute gifts are getting delivered, watch out for porch pirates. Washington County is working hard to stop those thieves by leaving bait packages on some doorsteps. Alma McCarty has an update on the program and advice for protecting your own deliveries.
They're always concerning. They're never going to stop. It's never going to stop.
Video after doorbell video capturing the crime happening, of course, all year long. And while investigators doubt they can stop it completely, Detective Patrick Altier with the Washington County Sheriff's Office says they can discourage thieves during the holiday season with their bait package program.
We use bait items for other things, and we just sort of adapted that to packages, right? You start putting the trackers in packages and putting the packages on porches and just letting them sit for a while. These are opportunity crimes. If somebody happens by, sees the package and grabs it, we're going to know.
Detective Altier says after the program's first year, the thefts dropped about 10%. The number of these crimes has stayed relatively low in Washington County, and they're not seeing a drastic drop every year.
Theft numbers have gone down, and they fluctuate just depending on the season, what's going on, economic conditions, things like that.
The sheriff's office reports the first bait package this season was stolen less than 12 hours after the mission began. It's still underway, and a quarter of the bait packages set out across the county have been taken and recovered.
And as far as what the packages look like, I think a lot of people would like to know that, but that would be silly for me to talk about.
When it comes to protecting your deliveries, Altier says doorbell cams do help, but he doesn't want to overstate their effectiveness. Law enforcement can't always make a case based on video alone.
It's something we can publicize. We can say, hey, does anybody recognize this person, especially if it's someone who's doing a lot of these, does anybody know this person? Can you give us some tips?
His standard piece of advice:
if people get those packages off their porch quickly, they're not sitting out there for someone to drive by and see it.
Getting packages delivered to the office or picked up by a neighbor also helps when you're not home. Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Omicron has hit the Pacific Northwest, and public health officials expect to see many more cases of the variant in the coming weeks. So far in Oregon, only 3 cases have been reported. The individuals live in Multnomah and Washington counties. 2 of them recently traveled internationally, one to Mexico, the other to Canada. All 3 were fully vaccinated. Washington detected its first case of the variant 2 weeks ago, and now it has more than 50. A lab at the University of Washington released this graph showing how quickly the variant is spreading. The dots indicate the percentage of Omicron cases after the lab tested COVID samples. Well, the White House is hoping people use at-home COVID tests to stay safe over the holidays. But as demand grows, those kits could be hard to find. There are 2 types of at-home tests. One where you overnight your sample to a lab and get the results in a few days. The other gives you results in a few minutes. The CEO of one kit-making company says sales spiked over Thanksgiving. He advises buying kits now and getting a few extra because they may be gone as we get closer to Christmas. The FDA has lists on its website with dozens of approved at-home testing kits. Another way to prep for the holidays, getting your booster shot. If you'd like to do it before Christmas, text the word booster to the number on your screen. That's 503-226-5088, and we will send you a link with all the info you need.